Okay, so I've done that, and now I've reloaded my hoop with a piece of the poly no-show mesh stabilizer. And now we're going to go change the design. This is what we just finished. Okay, so now we're going to change this up because we need to switch to the 12-inch design. So I'm going to go home. Okay, delete to select a pattern. Yes. Going to go to embroidery. Back to my flash drive. Back to my folder for pumpkins and potions. Back to the quilting design. And now I'm going to go to the border. And I'm going to select a 12-inch design, 2 by 12. Okay, that's what I want. I'm going to click set. And I'm going to just move it over to the left. Oh, and you can actually use your 8 by 12 inch hoop for this because it's going to be not 14 inches like the last one is. It's a little shorter. It is going to be under 12. So you can use your 8 by 12 hoop if you have one, instead of your 9.5 by 14. All right, so I'm going to add, going to go back to my flash drive, back to pumpkins and potions, and the quilting. Halloween border, and I'm going to pull the 12-inch in again. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to grab it with my stylus, and I'm going to move it over to the right a little bit, and just try to level it with the other side. Not a big deal. So I am definitely under 7 inches by 12 inches. So I can use my 8 by 12. I've already cut the stabilizer for my 9.5 by 14, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. But if you want to switch hoops down to an 8 by 12, you can save this piece of stabilizer for your next project that you need in your 9.5 by 14 hoop. All right, so we're good to go. We're going to click embroidery. Then I'm going to click edit, and I'm going to hit the multiple thread button. That's going to change the order of the stitches. Perfect. So it's going to stitch the placement line for both of these and then go to the tack down line for both in that order. Okay, that's the way we want to do it. So we are ready to go. Let's go back to the hoop cam. I put black thread in the top of my machine, which is going to match my fabric. And I'm going to stitch all of the stitches out with the black thread until we get to the quilting. So put a color thread up on top that matches your fabric. Put the foot down and let's stitch the placement line for the batting. Okay, so now I'm going to take a piece of batting and I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to cover all of that placement line, and then once you've got it covered, put the foot down and let's tack down the first piece of batting. Okay, stop your machine, put the foot up, lay the next piece of batting down. As soon as you got it down, put the foot down. Got my thread here. All right, and let's tack down this piece of batting. So now I want you to take the hoop off the machine, take this over to the table, and I want you to trim away the excess batting from all 4 sides of those 2 strips, and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so now I have those trimmed up. Now I'm going to put the foot down, and I'm going to stitch out a placement line on both of these strips for the fabric. So I want you to take the hoop off the machine and go to a table where you can do this easily. And I'm going to put my double-sided sticky tape that I've rolled inside out on top of those 2 strips on the stabilizer. Then I'm going to take this amazing strip. Look at what we've done so far. Look at all this. Yeah, doesn't that feel good to have all of that done? Okay, so we're going to flip it over just like we did, but now the tail is much shorter. We're going to flip it over so that we can feel the end of the batting there, okay? We can also see right here the previous placement line. So I'm going to use that to come up here and to place this, taking a peek, which is hard to show you on camera, of the previous placement line, trying to line that up, and I can see the one on the other side, and then line up the edge of the batting so it nestles up against the new piece of batting. Okay, then I can double check my placement line there looks good. Placement line there looks good. Okay, hold it down with one finger, press down on that tape, and then I can bring that forward. Okay, then I can actually put a piece of tape on each side of that and keep that down. Okay, then I'm going to put this strip straight down. Then I can fold it up and say, do I have an equal amount of fabric on each side? I need a little bit more on the left side. Yeah, that looks good. It'll tack down right there nicely. Okay, so then do the same thing. Put a piece of tape on each side just to hold that in place. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing for the right side. I just love doing this. Dun, 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 dun. Look at all this border. Look at all that. You've done a lot so far. How about that? Okay, same technique. Lay it down. I can feel the batting. I'm going to put it this way. Oop, pardon the camera. Okay. I can see the previous placement line on each side. So I can use that to place this in line with the new placement line. And then nest my batting. And the way you know you're nested right is if you feel it and you don't feel a ditch. It's perfectly smooth. Okay. Move my placement line over a little bit. There we go. And then hold it down. Okay, when in doubt, I can check it again. Placement line is still good. And then use that tape to keep it from moving. Then I can line this up. Visually go straight. And then peel it back up. And do I have a good amount on each side? I need a little bit more on the right side. Okay, is that straight? That looks good. Okay. I'm going to double check it. Okay, that looks good. And then put a couple more pieces of tape. And you're good. Oops. Okay. So now we put the hoop back on the machine. Very carefully. And now I'm going to move my hoop back in place. You don't have to do that. I just did it to give me a little bit more room on the bed of the machine. Okay, so now we're still having black thread up on top to match the fabric. Now we're going to stitch out the tack down lines to keep this fabric in place. All right, foot down, and here we go. Okay, so you can tell I am taking my tape off. There we go. So now I'm going to switch my thread out, taking the black out, and I'm going to put my lavender in. So you put in your thread up in the top of your machine that you are doing your quilt design in. And we'll get ready to start stitching this out. All right, so I've got my lavender thread up on top. I'm going to stitch this out. It's saying on my machine it is about a 9-minute stitch out for each one in real life. All right, you got this. You're doing great. Put the foot down, and here we go. Amazing. Ooh, love it. Okay, so we're done with this section. So now I want you to take the hoop off the machine, go over and take the stabilizer out of the hoop, and we're going to trim away the excess stabilizer. You can take the tape off as well. Do not trim your fabric because we're not done yet. We have one more hooping. Just trim the extra stabilizer. Now the last hooping we're going to be doing for this long side strip is going to be a 7-inch design. So you can use a 5x7-inch hoop, but you'll have to do 2 individual hoopings. I'm going to use my 8x8-inch hoop so that I can actually do both of these strips at the same time. It'll just fit on an 8x8-inch hoop. So that's what I'm going to do. Go ahead and do that. Load an 8x8-inch hoop with a piece of the poly no-show mesh stabilizer, and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so now I have my 8x8-inch hoop here loaded with another piece of the poly no-show mesh stabilizer. And let's go to the screen cam and let's change up the design. Okay, so we're all done with this size. We're going to go to the home, delete the selected pattern, go back to embroidery, and now we're going to go to where our files are and we're going to load the 7-inch design. Okay, go to border, and I'm looking by 2x7. There we go. Yes, 6.98. That's the one I want. Click set. And now I'm going to bring this over to right about there. Okay, so I'm going to click add. I'm going to go get another one. Pumpkins and Potions, Quilting Designs, border, 2x7. I'm going to bring it in, and I'm going to bring it slightly to the right. I'm not going to have a lot of room because you can tell here I'm already at 7.02 by 5.48. So because I have an 8-inch hoop, I can make it a little wider so that I have a little bit of room in between the designs. Okay, I can move it actually a little bit more. Oops, I'm trying to line them up. It doesn't have to be lined up perfectly, but there. Let's go with that. Now if I click embroidery and it likes it, it won't give me an error. There we go. If it gave you an error, you click return and you come back here and then you maneuver it either up or down or sideways, in and out, until it fits. Alright, so we are good. Okay, the last thing we need to do is we need to edit, and we need to click the three thread spools right there. That button will turn dark, and then click edit again, and you can see that it's rearranged the stitching, which is what we like to do. So we do all the placement lines together for both as we go step by step. Okay, let's go back to the hoop cam. All right, I've got black thread up in the top of my machine. I have a good amount of white thread in my bobbin down below, and with, of course, my 8-inch hoop with my polynomial mesh. So let's put the foot down and let's stitch out the placement line for the batting. Okay, so now I'm going to put my batting down. Make sure it covers all of that placement line. And I'm going to put the foot down and let's tack down this batting. Here we go. Okay, stop your machine and then put the foot up. Whoop. I hit the needle thread button. Put the foot up. There we go. And now I'm going to place the batting down so it fully covers that placement line, and put the foot down, and let's tack down this piece of batting. Okay, so now take the hoop off the machine, take this over to the table, and I want you to trim away all of the excess batting from around all four sides of that placement line on both of those strips, and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so now that we have those trimmed up nicely, let's put the foot down and let's stitch out the placement line for the fabric. Okay, you're getting good with this now. Look at what you've done so far. Look at all this. Look at all of this border. The side border. Look at this. You've done all of that so far, and that's what's left. Okay, so we're going to easy peasy. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to flip that fabric over. I'm going to put this strip toward the back. I'm actually going to take the hoop off. Give myself a little bit more ability here to maneuver. So I'm going to put that sticky tape back down on each one. And I could see the former placement line. I want to line that up with this placement line. Oops. There we go. And then as I do that, I also want to nest this batting up with the new batting. Okay, how does that look? Double check my placement line. No, it's got to come over this way a little bit. You want to try to get these lined up as much as possible, because then your quilting is going to really look continuous. Okay, that's good there. up against my batting, and then flip the unstitched fabric down, and then I can look at the side and I can double check my placement line. It's off just a smidgen, so I'm going to redo it. Take the tape, there we go. Take your time in doing this because, like I said, the better alignment you get, the more in line your quilting is going to be. All right, let me double check it. That looks good. Okay, so now I can put my tape on both sides. There we go. Okay. Then I can line up the fabric and make sure that I have equal amount, and I do not. So I'm going to lift this up a little bit. There, that's more equal on the sides. And then put the tape down to keep that fabric in its place. Okay, we got one side done. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And you can tell my tape has been reused probably five, 6 times now. And it's starting to peel up. So this will probably be the last time that I can use it where it still has some stick to it. It's enough to get us through the souping. The good thing is that you can reuse it several times. That's the good thing. It's not a one-time use. Look at this. I have to do this because this to me is just incredible. The amount of stitching that we've done. Okay, so now again, I'm going to fold it over. And all of this now, I'm going to shoot through the back so I can line this up. Pardon my arms here. So I can line that up and then line my batting up so it nestles right up against that new batting. So when I feel it, it's nice and smooth. There's no ditch between the two batting. It's a smooth connection. Okay. Double check it. That looks good. Bring it down. Do I have about the same amount of fabric on each side? No, I do. So that's good. Get that tape on top. And we are ready to tack this fabric down. Good job. Okay, let's put the hoop back on. Watch the tails. Make sure they're all off the back side of the machine. I still have black thread up on top because I need it to tack down the fabric, all right? Put the foot down and let's tack it down. So now we're going to take the tape off of this bottom section here. We don't need this anymore because the fabric has now been tacked down. Okay, and then we're going to change our thread in the top of the machine to be our quilting thread. So put that thread in the top of your machine. All right, now we've put the thread up on top. That's for our quilting. We're going to put the foot down and stitch this out. Each side is approximately a 5-minute in real-time stitch out. Here we go. That's great. Okay, so now I want you to take the hoop off your machine, take this over to the table, and I want you to trim away the excess stabilizer. You'll take this out of the hoop and then cut away the excess stabilizer only. Don't do anything with the strips yet. Just trim away the excess stabilizer, and I'll meet you right back here. All right, look at this. Isn't this amazing? You have just quilted all of this in a border for the left side and the right side. That is so cool. Let me get the other one here. Isn't that cool? Look at all this. You did all this. You did it. Isn't that so cool that you can embroider a border like this on your machine for your project? And you can use this for any quilt, any project that you're doing. A table runner, oh, that would be cool, on the top and the bottom of the table runner and the two ends. Just amazing what you could do. I am really, really happy with the way this came out. So now I want you to put these aside, and then I want you to stay tuned here for the next video in this series, where I'm going to show you how to make the borders for the top and the bottom. You've done the sides now, and then I'll show you how to make the top and the bottom, and then we'll be stitching it together. So stay tuned here on Jolly Molly TV for more fun and more videos in this amazing project, Kimberbell's Pumpkins and Potions. And until I see you next time, take care and happy stitching. Bye-bye.